What's up, nerds? Sorry about the large hiatus in video making, but it's been the holidays. I've had my brother in town. We all been doing stuff, so I haven't really had a chance or time to myself, to make videos or find somewhere to just be by myself to make a video. So this should have been made about a week ago. Anyway, and even then, it would have been almost a week late. I saw The Rise of Skywalker. And I am so disappointed. I am. To be fair, I did go in with low expectations, so maybe my opinion would have been biased from the get-go. Maybe. But, I wanted to have some semblance of hope that it wouldn't suck. That it, at the very least, wouldn't continue to undermine everything that had happened in the previous films. Not 7 and 8, I'm talking about the previous 6. Yeah, that's not it at all. It completely just... So many... There are a few things where credit's due. That they tried to fix a couple of the problems from The Last Jedi. Luke appears as a Force ghost. It's been a hot minute. Obviously, there's going to be spoilers here. Sorry. Luke appears as a Force ghost when Rey is trying to throw away the lightsaber, and he says a Jedi's weapon deserves more respect, and that was basically a big middle finger to Rian Johnson. I like that. Rey did have a little bit of training, and she did have a few scenes where it seemed like maybe she had some self-doubt. So that's a big deal in terms of her character. But overall, it was just more of the same. More ridiculous back and forth crap. More of just Rey being perfect, being the answer to everything. More, not even retconning, but just undermining everything that anyone else ever went through. And it just angers me. It really does. So Rey is a Palpatine. Okay. Big whoop. That was one of the popular theories anyway, even before we knew that Palpatine was still alive. It can be a small answer to why she's so powerful. But even then, I don't think it has to be, because it's not intrinsically linked to the mythos of Star Wars that being a descendant of a powerful individual inherently makes you a strong Force user. And even if it did, why would her dad, or mom, I guess, whichever one of them was the child of good old Sheev, why would neither of them have been Force sensitive? Maybe they were, but they just didn't bother to protect their daughter except by running away, and then they got stabbed by a little dagger. If being a Palpatine means that you have this incredible strength just by default, then they wouldn't have needed to abandon her on a desert planet. They could have protected her themselves. So that's their answer to why she's a Mary Sue. Obviously, it was just kind of thrown in there because, well, we need something, and Palpatine's back now for some reason. Yes, this was planned all along. It wasn't. She continues to be OP, which at this point, of course, they couldn't exactly tone her down, but she freaking is just levitating at one point. She's just sitting there with a bunch of rocks floating around her, and she's levitating in midair. It's like, okay, so she can fly now, basically. That's cool. She does force heal left and right, despite the fact that opens up lots of plot points and plot holes for all the previous movies, because why would this rando know how to do this when no one else, not even Yoda, would have known how to do it? And it seems to have little to no effect on her, even though it kills Kylo Ren later when he does it, which, how would he know how to do it? One could make the argument that she learned it by reading the Jedi texts, which you still need someone to train you. You can't just read and learn everything, but whatever. But how would Kylo have known how to do it at the end? And then there's also the Reylo thing that is actually happened. Rey's dead. She kills Palpatine in a stupid way, which I'll touch on in a moment. At the very end, she beats Palpatine, but it kills her. And then Kylo comes in, force heals her, because apparently you can just do whatever the hell you want with the Force now. And yeah, he's just alive! Woo! And they share a kiss, and then he dies. First of all, A, he wouldn't know how to do that as is. B, if the whole thing is transferring your life force and the Force energy, whatever, from one living thing to another, then he would have just been dead whenever she woke up. They wouldn't have time to share that cute little kiss. Second of all, why did they do that? You let the Reylos win! Why? Why? It was just so cringeworthy. I'll admit, I don't have like a script or anything. I'm just bouncing all over the place based on where the conversation takes me. But as I was saying, I'll touch back on how she kills Palpatine. So he's there, he's all mangled and stuff, and they don't explain why he's back, which, you know, why would they? They just came up with this idea, you know, straight out of their butt, because they needed some kind of stakes, because Kylo clearly isn't a formidable villain anymore, and Snoke's dead, and his origin story's stupid. But, so Palps is back. He was creating a giant Sith fleet that somehow nobody noticed. And each one of those Star Destroyers has an actual planet-killing gun, so a mini Death Star on their hull. So that means the whole Starkiller base thing was kind of pointless anyway if they were already building a huge fleet where one ship could destroy an entire planet. But okay, it's called the Final Order. So he's got that going on. He's alive, he drains some Force out of Rey and Kylo. He shoots this massive beast of lightning into the sky and disables the entire Resistance fleet. Objectively, it's kind of cool. I won't deny that. Objectively, it's kind of cool. But when you think about comparatively to how lightning has been in Star Wars, if it could do that, then no one would ever stand a freaking chance against it. If he can shoot this enormous beam of lightning into the sky and incapacitate an entire fleet, then no one would be able to survive lightning to the face. Luke would be dead. Rey, whenever she gets hit by it later, would be dead. Because after he does that, he zaps her and it's like, oh no, it hurts a little bit, but I'm fine. So it was a little bit over the top, and I get it. Sidious has done some incredibly powerful things in the comics and stuff, but they kind of have to tone things down for the movies. That's just how it is, and that was a bit much. For what we've seen thus far, it was a bit much. And then Rey is deflecting his lightning with one saber, and it's making her struggle. Then she takes out Leia's saber, or Luke's, whichever it was that she didn't have at the moment, and deflects it with two lightsabers right back into his face, and he explodes. Because apparently Palpatine doesn't learn to stop shooting whenever they deflect lightning back at his face. Only this time it made him explode. It didn't just hurt. For some reason. Let alone how she would figure out how to block lightning, since she never even blocks a blaster, I don't think. Except from a training droid, but... yeah, so he's dead. Rey did it, yay. Screw you, Anakin, the Chosen One, and the entire prophecy and the Skywalker Saga that has been going on for 4 decades now. None of that matters because Rey is the best. You don't need no man to do anything. That's dumb. And now that there's this idea that Palpatine contained all of the Sith, which I don't know if that's kind of metaphorical or if part of the rule of 2 is actively absorbing like the life force of your master when you kill them. But if that's the case, then all the old Sith would be disgustingly weak in comparison to every new iteration. That doesn't make sense. Not to mention, why would he want her to kill him? Because he would be dead, she would just have his power. It's riddled with inconsistencies. So he says, I am all of the Sith. And she goes, and I am all the Jedi. And then he blows up. because apparently a bunch of Force ghosts talk to her and give her all their power, even though there's not that many Force ghosts in canon anyway. And she doesn't even know who they are. How could she possibly have learned to do this? She just basically wanted to. And it just invalidates the Anakin story arc, man. Anakin and Luke, that's what this was all about. And that doesn't matter anymore. It's painfully frustrating. I could ramble on it for a long time. I have two other things I want to touch on, and then I'll let you go. And I'll probably script things out and talk about individual pieces in later videos. But one thing that happens earlier, again with Rey's Mary Sue-ness, is there's a transport taking off, and she just grabs it with the Force in midair. You know, like Starkiller, whenever he's pulling down the Star Destroyer. It's not that big of a ship, but still. It's flying away, and she just grabs it, and it stops. That in and of itself is immensely powerful. Yoda had to concentrate to lift the X-Wing out. And Yoda's one of the most powerful Jedi in the Force, at least, ever. And she's relatively effortless, appearingly, at least whenever she's grabbing that. And it's flying away. It's not stationary, and she's just lifting it slowly and putting it down. It's trying to jettison out of there, and she just grabs it and she's like, no, you don't get to go, because I said so. Because I'm a girl. Girls are cool. And then Kylo shows up after, for some reason, he didn't shoot her in his TIE fighter and just drove at her. So she backflipped and cut it off anyway. Ugh. So Kylo shows up, and they have a little bit of tug-of-war with the ship, and oh no, she gets a little bit angry, and she electrocutes it, and it explodes. Again, inconsistency with the strength of Force lightning, let alone that's a very powerful dark side ability that you don't just do. Like, that takes a lot of discipline and training and mastering to do it. We've only seen it from, what, 2 people in canon at least? Sidious and Dooku. Because Vader could, but it would fry his, mechanical parts. So yeah, and then it blows up. Oh no, I killed Chewie! But Chewie's not actually dead, so any guilt that she may actually have, any wrongdoing she may have done, it doesn't matter. Because she didn't actually do it, yay! She just, oh no, she's so powerful. And then the other main thing that I want to touch on is at the very end, just as the final middle freaking finger to the franchise, the nail in the coffin, she goes to Tatooine, to the Lars homestead, despite not having any actual emotional attachment to that place. Barely knowing Luke, Leia didn't come from there. And after burying Luke and Leia's sabers, which I don't understand the point, it doesn't really bother me, I just don't see the point. Some old lady comes up and she's like, hey, who are you? She goes, I'm Rey. And then 2 hours later, not really, but it's a long pause, she looks out and she sees the Force ghosts of Luke and Leia, which is sweet to an extent. It's nice to see the two of them together as Force ghosts. But then she goes, Rey Skywalker. No, you're not! You're not a Skywalker! You're a Palpatine! Own it! Or just stick with being Rey. Disown your family name even. That would be fine. She's always been, embarrassed almost at the fact that she doesn't have a people, she doesn't have a name, she's just Rey. But if anything, she could own that. Be like, I'm just Rey. That's all I am. And that's enough. But nope. Or she could, own up. Be like, I'm a Rey Palpatine, and I'm going to rewrite what that name means, and it's going to mean something good now. Nah, she identifies as a Skywalker now. Again, despite not really having too much of a relationship with either of them. Because Leia was in the Skywalker bloodline, but she was an Organa or a Solo. She wasn't really a Skywalker, though. I mean, kinda, yeah, but still. And then Luke, she had a total of 2 minutes of actual conversation towards him, where she wasn't being hostile towards him, or he wasn't being hostile towards her, and that was after he was dead. So she has no real reason to think that she should be a Skywalker. It's not honoring the name or anything. It's frustrating. Because it's called The Rise of Skywalker. You think Luke, and you think Anakin. You're like, okay, one of them is going to do something of value in this movie. They're going to make this work. The prophecy of the chosen one might even actually end up coming to pass yet again. But nope, The Rise of Skywalker is the rise of some chick deciding to identify as a Skywalker because she wants to take every last thing from all the people that we know and love. And that's the end of the movie, that right there. All of that, and I'm Rey Skywalker, even though she's not. Whew! That's gonna do it for this video. It was a little bit more of a rant review than anything else of the movie, and again, I know I'm super late getting it out. I also need to make a video about the last episode of Mandalorian, which was awesome. But that'll do it for now. I'll probably write things out a little bit better and talk about individual points of the movie and the trilogy as a whole, likely, in the future, make videos on that. But for now, again, that's all I got. Please like this video if you appreciated it, and subscribe to the channel if you want to hear me talk about more of this stuff. Again, I'll be trying to make videos quicker, or at least more frequently, but holidays, family in town, you know how it is. And with that, I will catch you guys later.